So I'm currently researching engineering within Stronghold Kingdoms. I already earlier today completed an earlier level of the engineering research, and as such, within the village hall, I've got a stockpile capacity of 140,400, a village hall capacity of 260, which is the place where you store the banqueting goods, a granary capacity of 15,600, which is for each of the 6 different types of food, an inn capacity of 2,600, which is where you store ale, and an armory capacity of 52, which is where you store the things you need in order to produce any army units beyond armed peasants. I've also been working on building, within my original village, my second chapel. And here in Elvenar, here's where things are currently. Today, me and Mom went on a road trip that lasted pretty much the entire day. And it was intended to do a task that took us 5 minutes at most. Apparently, my sister ordered some stuff, but then accidentally had it shipped to her old college. So it ended up at Skidmore College, which is based in Saratoga Springs. The drive to Saratoga Springs took about 4 hours. And because I woke myself up early, with an alarm at one point, at around 4 in the morning, and wasn't really able to go back to bed. Or I think maybe more realistically, I didn't really make much of an attempt to go back to bed. I ended up falling asleep for about the first 2 hours of the car ride to Saratoga Springs. And ultimately to Skidmore College. The second half was spent working on the Starfilm drawing. I started working on it at Billy's the other day. Or BTB's. I in particular got the sandwiches from a Stewart's shop, as well as the combos. The energy drink we got from Wegmans. During a brief shopping trip at Wegmans around 8:15 p.m. We got things such as I like getting sushi from Wegmans, so I got a game day family pack and then one king salmon combo. We also got some sparkling ice beverages and Mom got those crackers, those premium crackers. Mom got a gallon of milk, some V8 cans, as well as a 6-pack of, I believe it's pronounced Ilera water bottles. It's those bottles wrapped in the black plastic. I believe these are most of the combos that I got at that Seward shop. And the timeline of events is this. I tried to wake Mom up at 8:30 in the morning. Then again at 9 in the morning. She ended up getting up at around 9:15 in the morning on my third attempt. By knocking on her bedroom door. We hit the road around 10:15 in the morning. Got to Skidmore College at around 2 p.m. Mama packed some basic masks to wear. For when we headed into essentially the case center, but it's essentially the mailroom of Skidmore College. And then it ended up not being as bad as we expected. The boxes fit on a single trolley that they presumably provided for us and put all of my sister's ordered stuff onto, which included some stuff from FabFit, according to Mom, as well as... So I saw some new room stuff. We make your room look beautiful. That sort of stuff, it seems. Yeah, we loaded it all into the car. It took up... in total, putting the big boxes in first, it left just about enough space to allow me to still put my seat back. Yeah, I think today was the day I finally figured out how to get to that leather or leather on the side of the seat in order to put the seat back. It's kind of sunk in with the rest of the seat and is made of plastic like the rest of the legging of that car seat. The front passenger seat. The one that in the United States is always, at least according to my experience, to the left of the driver. I microwaved they're supposed to be bacon cheeseburgers from the Stewart shop. I got 2 because they had a deal on them. 2 for $4.50. And at that Stewart shop, I also got ice cream. Two scoops of ice cream on a waffle cone the first scoop was the Nestle Firecrackers flavor, and then the second scoop was the cookies and creams one. And I got rainbow sprinkles. Kind of dipped onto it, which made it come with a cup to an extent. Those rainbow sprinkles, excuse me if I recall, came in a plastic sort of cup with a plastic lid. In the Stewart shop, they have, at least the one we went to after going to Eddie F's New England seafood restaurant, which is sort of packed into a residential zone within Saratoga Springs, and so it was a 2-minute drive from Skidmore. So we went there immediately after we got the boxes into the car. Also, none of the boxes were really that heavy. They seem to be pretty light to me for the most part. There was this one big box that I prepared to be heavy by squatting so that I would lift with my knees and not with my back, and it turned out to be pretty light, actually. Not that heavy. Anyway, at the Eddie F's place, I got a bowl of lobster bisque and the entree of the seafood mac and cheese, which is supposed to be mac and cheese with shrimp and lobster. The food was enjoyable, but to me it seemed like a just good quality. I think that's the sort of sentiment I got. They had a cool collection of car plates on those wooden railings near the ceiling. Just below it, in fact. At the entrance to the restaurant, they had this little tiny convenience store. where they sold merch and some snacks, it would seem. Our server was pretty friendly, and I was able to strike up some conversations for the purpose of trying to make the video I filmed at the place be closer to a review of sorts, and hopefully shift it closer to maybe the appearance of any copyrighted music in the video being fair use. Excuse me. I know that the music came from some kind of radio that restaurants typically tend to have. After a trip to Eddie F's, we then hit the road again from, I believe, 3:30 p.m. to, again, about that 8:15 p.m. time, where we had a brief trip to Wegmans. After that brief Wegmans trip, we went to Abbott's. And at Abbott's, I got a waffle cone that was dipped in chocolate and had rainbow sprinkles around the rim. And essentially the top third of the cone itself. I think of, for the bottom scoop, I got the peanut butter cheesecake swirl, and then for the top, I got a scoop of the Unicorn Magic, which is a gluten-free flavor. I had that one dipped in rainbow sprinkles too, which resulted in it being put in a cup. Now, that time it didn't come with a plastic cup with a plastic lid, but that was more than fine. We spent about $16 at the Stewart shop, and I spent about, I would say, $8.50 roughly at the Abbott's. I fell asleep for most of the car ride home. I think at some point, more likely on the car ride home, Mom encountered some kind of camper, I would describe it, that had a Tusk painting on it. Though now that I remember, it was probably actually more likely on the way to Skidmore, because I believe Mom wanted me to take pictures of it, because she was listening to Tusk off of one of her CDs when she first noticed that camper. And she posted a status about that on Facebook. She had me use her phone to take the pictures of that camper. So was on the way to Skidmore. Then that happened, and we ended up following the camper unintentionally for several miles. Our paths were intertwined for several miles. We're just wrapping that. The sandwiches came in. I microwaved them for a minute. And the combos I ate were a majority of the combos in the bag I got with those burgers. I'm gonna save some for later, like when I wake up at some point in the morning. Or whatever that time may be. There were points throughout the whole journey in which it rained. One point towards the end where everything seemed to have a sort of yellowish tint due to presumably the lighting and it having rained recently or getting ready to rain, that sort of thing. Right after I woke up again. That sort of thing. Both when we at last arrived at Skidmore and when we got back home within our garage, it was great to get up and stretch my legs after sitting as a passenger within a car for several hours, but it was great going with Mom on that road trip. We got to have some good conversation whenever I was awake during it, and now, during the road trip, and now I'm nearly finished with that styrofoam drawing I started at BTB's. I think we at last got home at around 9:30 p.m. after Skidmore, College, Eddie F's, the Stewart Shops, Wegmans, and that last trip to Abbott's. I also recall I think on the way home, we made a quick stop at a gas station, but we didn't get anything from the gas station unless that gas station happened to be the Stewart shop itself, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It could very well have been an entirely different franchise that sold the gas.